In today's news, Premier slams cabinet over leaked document. A Police Act 2023 to return to the House of Assembly with measures to collect DNA. A grants used for political reasons, says audit. Property owners accused of harassing beach goers, breaking the law. Dawson says he intends on being the advocate for District 1. Well, viewers, these and more stories when 284 News return. Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here. My name is Kamal Haynes. Most of you know me from 284 News, but now you get to see me in a different light on my very own show called Health is Wealth. We have Joel Turnbull.
I don't want you to arch your back when you're pulling down.
Milton McLean.
First of all, right, your footwork.
Stephen Payne.
That was a 9 out of 10. I know you got the service down pat.
Steve Augustine.
You did a pretty hard workout today, so perhaps...
And as you can see, it's actually
you're feeling it.
Alonzo Boynes.
Taekwondo.
Adam Murrows.
I'll speak as if you're an absolute beginner.
I am an absolute beginner.
You are an absolute beginner.
And Seth Graham.
It bites. It will bite.
Get your water, get your fruits and veggies, and experience a wealth of knowledge about getting healthy.
Is that my lunch? Is that my lunch?
We're like the coworker that doesn't eat your lunch.
I'm John. I'm John.
CG Insurance. Good like that.
Well, welcome viewers to the Thursday, March 9th edition of 284 News. I am Kamal Haynes, bringing you the latest out of the British Virgin Islands. While leading today's news, Premier Dr. the Honourable Natalia Wheatley has strongly condemned the individual believed to be a member of the cabinet responsible for the unauthorized release of the Auditor General's report into the Assistance Grants Programme. Well, ahead of debating the contents of the audit, Premier Wheatley stood to express his deep disappointment in what unfolded.
And of course, this document is a document that has been much spoken about over the past few weeks, especially since it was leaked. And the first thing that I'm going to do, Madam Speaker, before I say anything about the contents of this report, is to condemn in the strongest fashion the unauthorized release of this document into the public. Madam Speaker, the Auditor General made a decision. The Governor concurred. The Premier concurred. This document was redacted for good reason. I'm going to repeat that. The Auditor General who did this report agreed that the names in this document should be redacted. It was sent to myself and the Governor, I believe maybe December 30th. Somewhere around there. Document not leaked. No problem with the document all over the street. Madam Speaker, the document finally comes to Cabinet. It took a long time to come. Finally comes to Cabinet. Right after it comes to Cabinet, it's all over the street.
Well, to this end, he has cautioned persons in possession of the unredacted form of the document to cease from sharing it and violating a confidential cabinet document in the process.
And Madam Speaker, I want to make it very clear. This report that we have just laid on the table is an redacted version. And I want to caution persons out there if you go and share this unredacted version, even after we've laid this on the table, you are violating the confidentiality of a cabinet document. It is a serious offense. And you must not do it. And those persons who made the decision to expose the identities of the 4,000 people in this document have decided to go against what the Auditor General recommended in redacting these names, the governor and myself.
Wheatley chastised those responsible for taking matters into their own hands to circulate the document and expose those named within.
Virgin Islands people, you know that saying, you build yourself up from your bootstraps? That's Virgin Islands people. Very proud people, very independent people. And if they come to you and ask you for something, it's because they really needed it. And they don't want their business exposed all over the place. Now, who am I, or who is anybody to go and put those persons' business on the streets? I'm extremely disappointed at the decision that someone made to leak this document to the public and expose those persons.
Well, he says he has no respect for this behavior and questions whether the move was politically motivated, to which he added that elected members must stop destroying each other for political points and leaving Virgin Islanders with collateral damage. Well, the Police Act 2023 is set to make a return to the House of Assembly during the ongoing sitting to update the dated legislation with new measures for handling DNA sampling. Well, Deputy Premier Kai Reimer made the announcement during a recent airing of the Virgin Islands Party's radio program Let's Talk. Well, the bill was later confirmed in the order paper for Thursday, March 9th, 2023, in the section of Public Business, where the bill is scheduled to undergo a first, second, and third reading. Well, while acknowledging that the previous contents of the bill was controversial and needed to be re-examined, Honorable Reimer said the DNA aspect of the bill is needed to assist law enforcement in the crime-fighting measures.
We removed the police bill that had various elements that were quite controversial to the public, and you know we are people that listen. We listen keenly, and you know we were able to respect the wishes of the majority in the community. There is one aspect of the bill that is quite important for us to solving some murders. As I mentioned in the House, we had quite a lot of murders from 2019, and all were most unsolved murders. So that is something that we understood, that the DNA aspect of the police bill needs to be addressed. So we will be coming back to the House just to address that aspect of the bill.
Well, Reimer noted that since 2018, the territory had a dozen murders and believes that the updated legislation to facilitate the collection of DNA sampling will increase the probability of solving such crimes.
We want to make sure that we are a community that shouldn't be fearful of persons that are committing these crimes. And I say from 2018, we had 12 murders. And 4 of them were double murders. So that is something that the DNA, we understand, once you go through the proper procedure in terms of getting a warrant from the judge, you would be able to then go through that proceeding. So it is noted that the police, you know, they're in favor of this. And, you know, we look forward to doing the, hopefully it would get to the process where we can get it to the House on Thursday and be able to address that major concern.
Well, as recent as early February, Premier Dr. the Honorable Natalia Wheatley noted following the postponement of the bill that it was his government's intention to pass the Police Act 2023 in the future, but not without dramatic changes to the contents of the bill. Well, at the time, he said the postponement of debates on the bill will allow for, and I quote, more time to consult, discuss, and prepare the necessary amendments to be considered by the House of Assembly and the public, end quote. Well, up next, viewers, grants used for political reasons, says audit, and property owners accused of harassing beachgoers, breaking the law. Well, these are more stories after a word from our sponsors.
Hun, it's asking for your password.
Huh?
You were logged out. I need the password.
BR.
What's the rest?
BRANDI, the number 4, EVER?
Who's Brandy?
We're like the password that isn't your ex-girlfriend's name. CG Insurance. Good like that.
I should have changed it.
You should have.
You're right.
Is someone gonna get that?
Hello.
Hello.
So nice of you to have cleaned up for us. Hi, baby.
We're like in-laws that don't show up unannounced.
Don't worry. I've got this.
CG Insurance. Good like that.
There are many ways to enjoy life, like so many ways to count on Popular.
Well, welcome back, viewers. Well, it is suspected that the assistance grants program that was responsible for the expenditure of millions through the Premier's office was possibly used for political reason. Well, that was revealed in a recent audit into the program. What more in this report?
Auditors say that the nature by which grants were handed out under the Office of the Premier from January 2019 to May 2022 has begged the question of whether this program was used for political reasons rather than the socio-economic issues for which it was created. Of a sample of 301 approved applications and transactions responsible for over $6.7 million in expenditure, auditors did not find any supporting documentation such as invoices, quotations, or past due bills beyond the initial letter requesting assistance. These unsubstantiated requests represented over $3.2 million guaranteed, seemingly without any verification of actual need. The audit said that while the program offered $2.6 million in assistance to persons purportedly pursuing some form of higher education, about $788,543 was awarded in that regard without any documented evidence that the applicants were actually enrolled in any educational institution, as the request for assistance did not contain any documentation, such as acceptance letters, transcripts, or other supporting documents to prove actual acceptance or enrollment. Furthermore, the audit revealed that the Premier's Office Assistance Grants Program was believed to have been fully funding scholarships of individuals absent of any of the protocols and requirements required by the Virgin Islands Scholarship Program. Therefore, without considerations for eligibility, academic requirements, limitations on the use of funds, restrictions on changes in academic programs, and bonding requirements, the program awarded $757,643.97 to assist with home repairs. However, auditors said that about 67% of the approved applications were awarded without any documentation, such as estimates or invoices, to support the awards. The audit also found that about 5 people were awarded totaling $99,000 for startup business ventures without submitting any documentation, business plan, evidence of the viability of the intended venture, or had any evaluation completed on the business venture before funds could be dispersed. The report said, quote, "This represents a lack of due diligence in dispersing public funds, as there was no sound basis to support the decision other than the applicant's desire to pursue an entrepreneurial endeavor." For 284 News, I am Jacka Wooding.
Well, Honorable Melvin Mitch Turnbull has warned property owners that the beaches in the Virgin Islands are public property, and attempts to infringe on the rights of Virgin Islanders to access any of the territory's beaches contravene with the law. One more in this story.
Minister for Natural Resources and Labour, Honourable Turnbull, has issued a stern message to persons in the territory who have been violating public access to beaches. Turnbull rose before the House of Assembly to address what was later described as a worsening issue being monitored by the ministry and other stakeholders.
I'm urged today to remind persons, and especially property owners territory-wide, that all BVI beaches are public. No BVI resident or their guests should be made to feel that they do not have the right to enjoy any BVI beach. The BVI is a prime tourist destination. Of this, we are well aware. Our beaches boast some of the world's whitest sand and cleanest waters, and we welcome travelers from near and far to enjoy them both. However, let us be very clear, Mr. Speaker, just as well that these Virgin Islands are our home.
According to Turnbull, his ministry has been in receipt of written and verbal reports of incidents in which persons are not adhering to law on beach access, whether from not knowing the law or simply choosing not to adhere. One such incident, he said, has unfolded at Little Trunk Bay on the island of Virgin Gorda. Turnbull said that the ministry has been informed of multiple incidents involving the owner of a property there, who is accused of attempting to restrict beach access, harassing beach users, and erecting illegal signage to restrict parking in the area.
Mr. Speaker, not only is this behavior illegal, but it propagates attitudes about ownership, race, and status that we cannot allow. The people of this territory, Mr. Speaker, have rights that we must protect. We welcome investment, development, and integration, but we do not welcome discrimination.
Turnbull reminded that the necessary legislation to guide access to the beach does exist and should be adhered to.
All shores and all beaches, whether natural, man-made, or private islands within the Virgin Islands, are vested in the Crown. There is always free access from any part of the waters to the shores and the beaches, and there should be reasonable access across lands to shores and beaches. Mr. Speaker, the public is hereby reminded of this legislation guiding public access and right-of-way to beaches as per the Virgin Islands Physical Planning Act of 2004, which defined a beach as the area of the coastal zone from the seaward limit of the foreshore running inland to the vegetation line or the natural barrier, whichever is closer to the landward limit or the foreshore, and the beach may consist of sand, stones, gravel, shingle, corals, fragments, or boulders.
He has warned this property owner and others accused of offending this law to cease this behavior.
All property owners and managers who may be engaged in prevented beach users are asked to cease and desist immediately. The public has a right to occupy the water and the shore of every beach, up to the area of land that is owned privately. Any person seeking further clarification of this law or seeking support to enforce the law as a beach user may contact the Ministry of Natural Resources and Labour Seabed Unit for assistance.
Turnbull's statement that day was lauded by Representative for the 9th District, Honourable Vincent Wheatley, who noted that this issue has been in need of dire attention.
Mr. Speaker, I just want to commend the Minister for bringing this vexing issue to the forefront. It's a pattern I saw developing. I spoke about it in this very house some time back. This person's trying to restrict access to public beaches, that the Minister rightfully said, needs to cease and desist immediately. All beaches are public. We live in harmony. We know tourism is our business, in some places more than others. But I must commend the Minister for bringing and shedding more light on this vexing issue that's been developing and going from a bad place to a worse place over the past couple of months. I look forward to even more light and more action taken on some of these persons who want to privatize some of our beaches. All beaches are public, Mr. Speaker.
For 284 News, I am Jacques Wooding.
Well, up next, Dawson says he intends on being the advocate for District 1, and Scatliffe-Leonard speaks on gun violence in the BVI. With these stories, when 284 News return.
Lord of Jesus. That line here long like church service.
Alright, do enjoy the rest of the day. Next customer line, please. Wait, hold on a second.
Yes, Sonny boy, come. Yes,
Good
Sonny.
morning.
Good morning, Sonny boy. Hold on there. You must have cut front of people.
It's okay, I'll take care of it.
What? No man to take care of me.
How may I assist you?
Yes.
You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top of power?
The wait is over. CCT Fire is here. Experience ultra-fast downloads, seamless streaming, and even more reliable connectivity on an all-new fire-blazing super-fast CCT Fiber network. CCT Fire. Bring it home and upgrade today.
Well, welcome back, viewers. Well, Dr. Carol Dawson says the 1st District is in need of an advocate to address the many concerns and issues within the district, a responsibility he says he intends on fulfilling as a candidate in the upcoming general election. Well, Dr. Dawson, who will be contesting under the Virgin Islands party ticket, made his statement during a recent airing of VIP's Let's Talk program. Well, he said he intends on resolving a number of the existing issues within District 1.
I expect to work along with the community and move these things forward, making sure that our seniors are taken care of. And also, aside from the things we do in the 1st District, because there are still so many infrastructural issues even that that people meet me and talk to me about. I mean, as simple as, I know one fisherman down on Frenchman's Key said, I can't get my boat in and out to go and make a living because the channel needs to be cleared. And it would seem like not a great thing to do, but it's taken quite a long time. So there needs to be an advocate, and I intend to be that advocate for the people of the 1st District, and not only on district matters, but there are national issues, the things that we're talking about here now, the things, our relationship with the United Kingdom, the future of our economy as a whole, how we run government, effective government.
Well, Dr. Dawson also spoke on the relationship between the government, public workers, and the governor, stating that he believes it should have been addressed in the recent commission of inquiry.
There's this relationship that we must have between the elected officials, the civil service, and the head of the civil service, the governor. And that has come into focus to see that has not been working effectively. And perhaps we've seen so many things come out of the COI, but perhaps they have not spoken enough about that relationship, that what is the best model, that needs to be re-examined in order to ensure that we give the very best to the people of the Virgin Islands.
Well, Dawson also revealed that he was approached by numerous persons and encouraged to run for political office.
As I look towards the future, it's a candidacy that I've told the people it's really your candidacy. Persons in the district have approached me and encouraged me about seeking political office, perhaps certain things they may have seen in me and seen the interest that I have in a better Virgin Islands. So I will give up my very best effort. I will focus. I will not get into full details here now, but I'm certainly very interested in the economy in the 1st District. I think there's more opportunities for businesses that exist, but also for new businesses, for young persons to have greater opportunities in the 1st District if we do the right things.
We'll move into our final story, where in a recent statement on gun violence in the Virgin Islands, 7th District Independent candidate Scatliffe-Leonard has said, and I quote, "Our society has become numb regarding gun violence," end quote. For the first time, candidate said personal views and politics must be put aside in addressing gun violence. Take a listen.
During the past few months, there has been a disturbing number of gun violence in our Virgin Islands. As the families, peace organizations, and a Royal Virgin Islands Police Force work to fully understand the reasons for such violence, While trying to identify the perpetrators, we continue to fight with the realization that gun violence is escalating and poses long-term consequences for future generations. We must do more to end gun violence in our Virgin Islands because we can no longer bear the news of another one of our precious sons perishing, ultimately on our soil. There is no denying that we are in a gun violence crisis. Gun violence touches every corner of our territory, and we must be more proactive in implementing strategies to target and prevent further gun violence. Gun violence is not an isolated problem because guns do more to the territory than injure or kill its citizens. Think of the domino effect that goes way beyond the families who lost a loved one, the financial impact on the families of the victims, the community at large, and tourism, to name a few. The repercussions that will affect our economy and image are many.
But there have been 2 fatal shootings in the Virgin Islands so far this year, but according to the independent candidate, the 7th and 8th districts are devastated. She said she continues to pray for healing so that the stigma that has been attached to her community is removed.
The 7th and 8th districts are devastated by much loss due to gun violence. I continue to pray for healing so that the stigma that has been attached to our community because of the numerous incidents is removed. We must set clear and strong standards that send a clear message that this community and our territory stand firm against all acts of violence. For this, we need a stronger community, police, and social development partnership to focus on some of the more problematic issues because we matter too. While we do not know and may never find out the exact reasons for these gun crimes, I implore our young men and women to find harmonious ways to resolve their issues. Put your weapons down.
Well, to do this, Scatliffe-Leonard posited that the territory must recognize that gun violence is preventable with everyone's input. She said efforts must be made to reduce access to firearms.
Parents, we have an awesome responsibility to help guide and mold our youths. We need to know where our children are hanging out, who are their friends, what they are doing, what they are watching on television, and most of all, to reassure them that we love them. I am concerned about how numb our territory has become regarding gun violence. Personal views and politics must be put aside, and a conscious effort must be made across every community in this territory to speak out against gun violence. It is time to change the culture of violence and strengthen our policies to stop it. We must take a united stand.
Well, that's it for today's news roundup. Be sure to follow us for daily news updates at 284media.com and like us on Facebook at 284media and 284BVI on Instagram and Twitter. I'm Kamal Haynes, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Have a safe and enjoyable evening. Bye-bye.
Is someone gonna get that?
Hello.
Hello. So nice of you to have cleaned up for us. Hi, baby.
We're like in-laws that don't show up unannounced.
Don't worry. I've got this.
CG Insurance. Good like that.
There are many ways to enjoy life, like so many ways to count on Popular.
Father Jesus, that line here long like church service.